Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
The act of paying money. An act of requiting, returning in kind. A sum of money paid or a claim discharged. The act of paying money. The act of paying money. A justly deserved penalty. An act of requiting, returning in kind. The United States federal department that promotes and administers domestic and foreign trade, including management of the Census and the Patent Office, created in 1913. Transactions, sales and purchases, having the objective of supplying commodities, goods and services. Social exchange, especially of opinions, attitudes, etc. Transactions, sales and purchases, having the objective of supplying commodities, goods and services. An economic system, Europe in 18th century, to increase a nation's wealth by government regulation of all of the nation's commercial interests. Transactions, sales and purchases, having the objective of supplying commodities, goods and services. The income or profit arising from such transactions as the sale of land or other property. The average return was about 5%. The key on electric typewriters or computer keyboards that causes a carriage return and a line feed. Document giving the tax collector information about the taxpayer's tax liability. His gross income was enough that he had to file a tax return. Go back to a previous state. Elect again. A coming to or returning home. On his return from Australia, we gave him a welcoming party. Happening again, especially at regular intervals. The return of spring. Be restored. Her old vigor returned. Give or supply. Pass down. Pay back. Go back to something earlier. Getting something back again. Bring back to the point of departure. The act of someone appearing again. Answer back. Give back. A quick reply to a question or remark, especially a witty or critical one. Be inherited by. The land returned to the family. The occurrence of a change in direction back in the opposite direction. A reciprocal group action. In return, we gave them as good as we got. American football. The act of running back the ball after a kickoff or punt or interception or fumble. A tennis stroke that sends the ball back to the other player. He won the point on a cross-court return. Go or come back to place, condition, or activity where one has been before. Return to your native land. Make a return. Return a kickback. Return in kind. Return a compliment. Return to a previous position, in mathematics. The point returned to the interior of the figure. Submit, a report, etc., to someone in authority. The act of going back to a prior location. They set out on their return to the base camp. A reciprocal group action. A reciprocal group action. Be priced at. These shoes cost $100. Value measured by what must be given or done or undergone to obtain something. The cost in human life was enormous. The property of having material worth, often indicated by the amount of money something would bring if sold. He couldn't calculate the cost of the collection. Require to lose, suffer, or sacrifice. This mistake cost him his job. The total spent for goods or services including money and time and labor. A payment smaller than needed or expected. The act of paying less than required. The reduction of the value of an asset by prorating its cost over a period of years. Payment of an obligation in a series of installments or transfers. The act of spending or disbursing money. Amounts paid for goods and services that may be currently tax-deductible, as opposed to capital expenditures. The act of spending or disbursing money. Amounts paid for goods and services that may be currently tax-deductible, as opposed to capital expenditures. Payment, usually by doctors or lawyers, of part of the fee in return for the referral. The act of spending or disbursing money. Money paid out, an amount spent. A payment larger than needed or expected. The act of paying too much. Payment in advance. Exchange or buy back for money, under threat. Money demanded for the return of a captured person. Payment for the release of someone. The act of freeing from captivity or punishment. The act of returning money received previously. Pay back. Please refund me my money. Money returned to a payer. Something that remunerates. The act of paying for goods or services or to recompense for losses. Adequate remuneration for his work. A written communication in a second language having the same meaning as the written communication in a first language. An explanation of something that is not immediately obvious. The act of interpreting something as expressed in an artistic performance. A performance of a musical composition or a dramatic role, etc. A coat of stucco applied to a masonry wall. Giving an acknowledgement of obligation. Perspective drawing of an architect's design. The act of returning money received previously. Payment of a debt or obligation. The act of spending or disbursing money. Money paid out, an amount spent. Payment extorted by gangsters on threat of violence. Something given or done as an expression of esteem. Payment by one nation for protection by another. The reduction of the value of an asset by prorating its cost over a period of years. Payment of an obligation in a series of installments or transfers. Something left after other parts have been taken away. Relating to or indicating a remainder. Residual quantity. Often plural. A payment that is made to a performer or writer or director of a television show or commercial that is paid for every repeat showing. He could retire on his residuals. Bestow honor or rewards upon. The scout was rewarded for courageous action. Benefit resulting from some event or action. Reaping the rewards of generosity. Strengthen and support with rewards. A recompense for worthy acts or retribution for wrongdoing. virtue as its own reward. An act performed to strengthen approved behavior. Act or give recompense in recognition of someone's behavior or actions. Payment made in return for a service rendered. The offer of money for helping to find a criminal or for returning lost property. Royal persons collectively. The wedding was attended by royalty. Payment to the holder of a patent or copyright or resource for the right to use their property. State of being gratified or satisfied. Compensation for a wrong. We were unable to get satisfaction from the local store. Act of fulfilling a desire or need or appetite. The satisfaction of their demand for better services. Law. The payment of a debt or fulfillment of an obligation. The full and final satisfaction of the claim. The contentment one feels when one has fulfilled a desire, need, or expectation. The chef tasted the sauce with great satisfaction.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.